Okay, the thing about miniatures is they burn. This is a fireball spell. It hit. No, wait. We have dragon's breath. Look at that. This is what happens when a dragon breathes on you, or a fireball. Fireball melts lead at 600 and some degrees. Gold will melt at 1948. So think about that next time your PCs get hit with dragon's breath or a fireball. You know, these are actual lead minis, these two here. That was just a plastic one that I made. Just like the Game of Thrones. Yeah. So next time you think your game's not hard enough, think about going back to old school 1E, 2E, and they will tell you in the spell description as to what your spell will do. Step back. Oh, I was gonna get some more of that on there. I don't think this will work. No. Hold on, let me get a flame going here. That's how deadly fireball is, and it sets everything else around it on fire. I'm a firebug. So you think about that. That could have been a dragon's breath going into the ferns there, the trees, or, you know, surrounding stuff. I mean, it is going to torch everything. Just a little aspect on how deadly the game could be for your characters. So let's go in and start this show from the
Ready?
Yep.
Episode 5 of Allskool Gamekeepers.
Allskool Dungeons and Dragons.
All the time. All right. So, today we want to talk about a few things, mostly fire spells from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th editions. We're not going to really hit on to basic.
Fire.
Yes, fire is awesome. So we're going to hit on the fire spells. I don't know what you had that you wanted to talk about them, but I wanted to talk about personally was fireball and how deadly this spell can be. In 1st edition, it says that fireball will melt soft metals like gold, silver, copper. I think silver is like 1,700 degrees and some change Fahrenheit, whereas gold is 1,948 degrees Fahrenheit. We're talking about a spell. When the wizard casts it, the little P goes out, it hits and explodes. In that short time, it goes from room temperature to over 2,000 degrees to melt that gold that quick. Now you think about it, the guy is wearing bronze plate mail, which has a lower melting point than gold. This would melt that on his skin. Steel melts at 2,800, but if he's wearing steel, it's not going to melt his plate mail, but his plate mail will be at least 900 or 1948 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm thinking, okay, you roll a level 10 wizard casts it. He rolls 10 dice 6. He adds up his damage. The fighter would roll his saving throw. If he passes, he would take half damage. If he failed, he would take the full damage that the wizard, this is in 1st edition, that the wizard would have cast the fireball. I mean, he can take anywhere from 10 to 60 points of damage, 5 to 30 if he saves. But that armor is all not nice and hot now. And anything flammable like leather, wood would catch fire, and be burnable. I mean, but that's not what I'm really getting at. What I'm getting at is your armor is now 1900 degrees. You have to be able to take it off because you're going to continue to blister because it's and burn. It's something that temperature. Old school could be very unforgiving. I don't know if any DMs have ever done that. If you don't think your game is bad enough, put in that real aspect of that. I mean, because that would be like the Druid spell, heat metal. It ramps up and cools down, but you would start at the hottest point, and then you would cool down, taking damage every round thereafter until it's cool, or either you're dead or you get it off. So there, as we go into other editions, second edition's the same way, third edition is the same way. Fourth edition, it doesn't even talk about the temperature of it melting gold. Fifth edition doesn't either. It only says that anything you're wearing doesn't catch fire, which they're being a little lenient there. But it makes for a quicker game mechanic, so you wouldn't have to roll saving throws for everything that you had on you compared to first edition. Lightning bolt would do the same thing because it will melt metal. I mean, because it's just like an electric blast furnace. I mean, you're melting steel with electricity. And it would be actually worse, I would think, in my opinion, that lightning bolt would melt quicker or melt the steel quicker. It's just things that I would always thought was like when we cast a spell of how lenient we're going to be. Even if you dodged out of the way and didn't catch the full blast, that's a lot of heat in that little area. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring up about this spell. I don't know what you wanted to bring up about fire spells. I know you did some research this week. What were you kind of thinking?
Well, we talk about all the fire spells. Fire-based spells going way back to the beginning, like back to the original and then the 1E. We go back to like the Druids from 1E. They're Fire Trap, Wall of Fire, Produce Fire, Firestorm, and then from third edition, they'd get Flame Blade, Flaming Spear, Flame Strike, and like clerics. All editions get the
Flame Strike was awesome.
All editions of clerics get Flame Strike, and then they also get some Fire Trap in there. If you go to third edition, you get the Fire Domain, then you get Burning Hands, Produce Flame, Wall of Fire, Fire Shield, Fire Seeds, Firestorm, Incendiary Cloud, Elemental Swarm.
Fire Trap you mentioned a minute ago. Mm-hmm. Well, finish up your line, then we'll go back to Fire Trap.
And then in fourth editions, they get an Avenging Flame.
Avenging Flame. I actually did not look up a lot of these spells other than the cleric, low-level spells, and some of the druid stuff. Because I forgot totally that druids had fire spells. It just kind of, for some reason, I was thinking that druids are life in forest, flame for forest, not good. Yeah. So druids wouldn't have those.
Yeah, so I was thinking that too. I was going, druids, man, why? Man, they got a lot of some fire spells, and they want to preserve the forest, not set the thing on fire.
Yeah, and I never thought about it in World of Warcraft. Staghelm, the druid, became a fire druid, and I think it was, what was that? Cataclysm? Or I don't remember which expansion it was. Not Cataclysm, but the one after it, where they brought back Ragnaros. But he was a fire druid, and it just kind of still went over my head even because of that. But Fire Trap. Yeah, you put it on a small chest, and so when they open the chest, boom, there's like a 5-foot radius from that point out, small fireball. It doesn't hurt the chest or the vessel that it was in, but people take damage outside of it. But it also says in an edition that you can, second edition, that this can be put on a chest underwater, and then a big cloud of steam is caused. I'm like, wow. I mean, first edition did not say anything about underwater, but you can do this underwater. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty hot if you're underwater and you still take damage out to 10 feet across from the center, 5 radius, that you would take damage underwater from the heat. And it turns that water to steam immediately. It's just like, man, that has got to be super hot to boil that and still cause damage to people within 5 feet radius of it. I mean, so you think about that. I mean, you're not going to catch fire under there, but you're going to take boiling water damage, and it's going to hurt. You know, so it's just like, man, these fire spells are really dangerous. Fire's not a joke, man. I mean, and respect to all the firemen out there that deal with that shit every day, you know, because you're just dealing with, you know, normally house fires and, you know, and some hazmat stuff in town. I mean, you're not dealing with wizards casting fireball at your ass. But still, respect to you guys. So go back on about the spells that you were talking about.
And it seems like, you know, Fire Shield, Firestorm is shared by a lot of different classes, as we've, you know, I've already, you alluded to that it's already the druids, the clerics. We're going to go back to the, you know, mages from the
Wall
earlier
of Fire
edition.
also. Wall of Fire is also
Yes.
a druid and a mage spell,
Yes.
which is kind of neat.
I just see a lot of consistencies between all the, you know, all the classes with some of these fire spells. If you go back to like mages from like early editions, like first edition, they get affect normal fires, and then burning hands. Burning hands, I think, is pretty much there throughout the entire editions.
Well, which one was that where they went?
That's burning hands.
That's Burning Hands?
Yeah.
They put their two thumbs together, and,
Yeah.
and even in the novels, they're casting Burning Hands, and it's shooting out that ray of fire, like, what, 30 feet?
Yeah. I mean, even the Witcher throws his hands out there to do his fire thing.
Right.
Also, you know, the burning hands, just had, of course, fireballs there all throughout all the editions.
Right.
Delayed blast fireball, it's a higher level spell. Then again, you get the fire trap, pyrotechnics, fire charm, flaming spear, fire shield, wall of fire, flame blade, flame walk.
Just get a flaming sword.
Yeah, yeah, if you can find one, but yeah, that's pretty fun. Yeah, and then you know, the fire back to the firestorm again, the fire seeds, meteor swarm,
That one, Meteor Swarm.
or storm. Yeah, swarm. Yeah, it's a swarm.
In first edition, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, it was 4 that would hit like this, and they would overlap. So instead of having one fireball here that hit here, you would have 4 that overlap that center, you know, and you could lay waste to a lot of stuff really quick. And each meteor had it was like a toned down fireball with damage wise, but it still had the aspects of fireball. So then again, we're talking 1900 degrees. So Meteor Swarm could really mess up a player or a party if the DM wanted to be a hardcore. And I'm not saying DMs go out there and be hardcore. Find out what your players want to do before. You know, if they want to play hardcore, hey, that's between you and them. I mean, but don't be hardcore on them just to be a dick.
Some DMs call a certain level, they take the gloves off.
Yeah.
But anyways, when you get to third edition, you got the mages and sorcerers together. And they get a scorching ray, a flame arrow, incendiary cloud, a meteor swarm, and then yet in the fourth edition, they get like an at-will spell. I imagine it's like a cantrip. So it's an at-will called.
I would say that at will is a cantrip because I've never dabbled in 4th, even though I got a bunch of the books. It's just one of the things that I've just
Yeah, so that's another scorching spell, an at-will, and then they get this, you know, the standard, you know, fire burst. Well, fire burst is kind of a newer one. We haven't come to that one yet. Frost burn, combust, black fire, you know, fire shroud. So those are all fourth edition stuff.
Right.
And then the paladin of fourth edition, you get something called righteous infernal.
Okay. I have not looked it up, even though I'm a paladin player. I'm sorry, I skipped 4th edition. But we will include them in our talks as time goes by because I don't want to alienate those players. I mean, it's D&D.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of good stuff was written by Salvatore during the 4th edition takeover or transition from 3.5 to 4. So I mean, it's smooth. I'm hooked. You know, you could probably write D&D on a piece of paper and I'd want to collect it. That's pretty bad.
And they're not playing third or fourth edition, but it looks like that's where the Warlocks came in fourth edition, and that's where they got the Hellish Rebuke. They got something called Witchfire, Flames of Pelgalthos.
I don't know. I see it in your notes that you sent me
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
What was it called?
Flames of Papagos, whatever. So makes me suppose we can't even pronounce them, but
I would say Pelagos.
Pelagos, something like that. But And then you get the fire swarm, and then another hard to pronounce, minions of
Malbolgia.
Malbolgia. Okay. And then they get like a hellfire spell, and a soul scorch.
Okay.
So it's definitely something, coming from the hells to.
Right. It's you'll see a small video in here later on of us burning up some minis. There were 2 lead minis and a plastic mini.
Fire.
Yeah, we used some fire on it. It was fun. The sound really bad on it, so don't worry about what we're saying. But we're talking about a fireball. The lead minis, they melted. Leads, those were lead, not pewter. That was 621 degrees to melt them guys. And I mean, granted, a little bit of lead's going to cool down quicker, but it would still burn you. Y'all watch Game of Thrones, and you see the dude gets the gold poured on his head. The Targaryen, I can't remember his first name. That killed him.
Danny's brother, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that killed the dude. I mean,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, he wanted his gold, he got his gold.
Yeah, but the fact is, like, molten metal, killed him. And we're talking about, okay, if your plate mail armor is 1900 degrees, the same as molten metal, don't you think you would die too? I mean, it would eventually kill you. So, I mean, it's a very nasty spell.
Well, it's like they did in the first Fantastic Four. Was it Victor Von Doom, where they heated up his he was wearing that metal
His
armor,
armor, yeah.
they melted it up, got so hot, and then they
Right.
cooled it with water, and
Yeah, he should have died in
Yeah,
that hot
should've.
armor. Yeah.
you think you would, and then you're just
Then
the armor got stuck. It stuck, so
You can't kill Victor Von Doom. I
Yeah.
mean, he's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point this out. We were talking about fireballs a couple weeks ago, and I just, as I read the first edition rules for the spell, I'm like, holy crap, that's hot, I mean, it's easier now for the players now to continue the game on instead of having to roll for all those saving throws. But just like, man, if you had even your swords would have to, your magic items would have to make a save. Your bag of holding would have to make a save. If you had that, any scrolls in a scroll tube, you'd have to go through each scroll to make sure it didn't, a lot of potions. Potions would have to make a
you
save.
might get the guy arguing, no, that was in a bag behind me. The flames didn't hit me.
But it wrapped around you.
All right,
So,
so we're gonna move on to the 5th edition, where you got multiple classes sharing in cantrips, such as produce flame, firebolt, create bonfire, green flame blade, and then also you get the regular spells that a lot of classes
a
share.
green flame blade?
Green flame blade, yeah, that's where it's green. That's what the rules say. Yep, it's a green one.
I'm just really behind on a lot of my reading. I like to read the novels. The rule books, I know how to DM. You as a player could fill me in if I forget something. But a green flame blade, that sounds pretty cool.
So, and then the classes are going to share firestorms, flame blades, flaming spears, wall fire, searing smites, even though it's mainly a paladin, but there's some other classes that get searing smite.
Okay.
Then the old burning hands,
Yep.
the scorching ray, back to the good old faithful fireball again, delayed blast fireball, incendiary cloud, meteor swarm, the hellish rebuke, the fire shield, pyrotechnics, flame arrow, an investiture of flame, an agonizer's scorcher, melf's minute meteors, and immolation. So that covers most of immolation. So that covers most of the fire-based spells.
That's a lot of fire-based spells. I mean, that's a lot of damage, and we ain't even talked about how much each one does.
Yeah.
Per the spell. I mean, you catch a lot of shit on fire. You'd be an arsonist.
If we did a lightning-based show, we wouldn't have a whole lot because
No.
everybody likes fire.
I was a firebug as a kid.
I know.
I mean, I never burnt anything down, but it was fun to burn shit. We'd have a garden out back, and we'd have potato bugs all over the potatoes. My dad would make us go out and pick them. I'd put them in an old metal coffee can and just get a road flare out and just Roast them sons of bitches.
And we won't talk about how we almost set a cornfield on fire in the fall after it was already
dry as
withered,
hell.
already
Yeah.
withered and dried up. So
That was Steve Farr, man. That was Steve Farr.
back when we were really young.
I'll blame it on Steve Farr.
19, 20 years old, but
I didn't think I was 20 yet.
so we can talk about the damage for each spell. This damage these fireballs do at certain levels. You go back to 1E and the old versions. It's dice 6 per level, so it didn't matter how many levels you were back then.
First edition, there was no cap.
30, you'd be a 30th level wizard, 30 dice 6. But
Second edition, they put a cap on.
yes. Now the scrolls back in the early editions, scrolls were maxed out at 6 die.
Scrolls were 6 die. Wands, staves were
Die
8.
8. Yep.
Yeah.
You get 8 dice on those.
Yeah.
Then we move to the Tim said yes. There's a cap. 10 dice 6 is the cap.
Which kind of like, but second edition, your character was also capped at 20. Which it's kind of took away from the power from the wizards. Wizards were super powerful in 1E. And that's when they come out with 2E. Let's go with specialization for the warriors to make them more not suck as the levels got higher. So then they canceled the fireball spell down to 10 die 6 instead of be 20 die 6 if you were a 20th level wizard. But also, but you still had power word kill.
Yes.
And you could still do the wish spell.
You do well. You get the delayed blast fire, where it did a lot of damage too.
That's always a cool trap mechanism.
Or you can set it, in 10 seconds. You can do it in 10 seconds. Then you go to third edition. It's still the same cap at 10 dice 6.
Yeah.
I didn't play, like I said, I didn't play third edition, but fourth edition, it's 3 dice 6 plus your intelligence modifier. So I have no idea how the intelligence modifier. I don't know how much intelligence modifier you're getting to add in there, but hopefully
for like
it'd have to be a lot.
intelligence 17, I don't know off the top of my head what your modifier was, but it's. What would you say? What was how many?
It's 3 dice 6. It's
3 dice 6
pretty
plus
low.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because some of them get up to plus 40 in the initiative modifier. I have no clue, so I have no idea. I've never played the edition, so.
Got the books. It's got cool artwork, and that's about as far as it goes. Sorry.
Then move up to the current 5e. 8 dice 6 to start off, and a dice 6 for each spell slot, 4th or higher. I mean, so if you
So what is the maximum that a wizard can cast?
I think you can go up to 9th level spell slots. So
Okay.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So it looks like you'd probably do a 14 dice 6.
A
maybe.
14 dice 6?
When you're using your 9th level spell slot, I'm thinking.
That's not bad if that's how we're figuring it right. I mean, I'm sure some of you all out there could tell us if we're wrong in the comments section down here. I'm going to put in the comments for Chris Korsak, RPG guy. He's got a good deal going on for a monthly. I keep plugging him because it's a good deal. $16 shipped to your house. 1 to 2 RPG books a month. They're used, but he kind of said in this thing, you will not be disappointed. I haven't been disappointed. I've got 4 subscriptions or 2 subscriptions for the past 2 months. I'm very happy, not complaining. I'm going to put a link for him. I will put a link for probably some of our local game stores like Secret Door Games, the Griffin, which is Griffin is celebrating how many years?
45 years.
45 years this summer. Fantasy Games in South Bend also. Rupel's and Elkhart, Dunlap area. And Rivals Game in South Bend. Rivals Gaming in South Bend at Town and Country Shopping Center. And hopefully we add some more to that. Before we move on to that, also we'll put a link if you wish to help us with financial sponsorship. That's it. We'll give a shout out to you. But we're just trying to buy better equipment to have our show, get a better camera, get a better sound system, so now we're sharing one mic. And we're gonna try to pay a AV school kid. No, we got a gaffer that we need to pay him. So that's some of the stuff that we're looking to expand and make this show better for you. And if you want us to hear things that you want us to talk about, that would be awesome, because me coming up with ideas, sometimes I just forget about the show. I forgot about the show till 2 hours ago. When Carl called me, I was over at the game store, BSing with the guys at Secret Door. That's you, Will and Will. And Carl calls me like, "Hey, we're still on." I'm like, "Oh yeah. I gotta head home." So, but yeah, that's we'll put links to that stuff down in there. Another things that I'd like to talk to you people about is I ordered from DM's Guild recently. I got Ravenloft second edition, where Black Roses Bloom. Is that centered in there? This is a reprint of the module. Originally, this thing retailed for like $9.95 back in the 90s. It deals with Lord Soth in Ravenloft. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not bad artwork, but the copy is really good. There is some artwork in there. I mean, this is a direct copy from it. Wizards licensed it. I mean, but I think I paid like $12.95 for it, plus shipping on some other stuff because I ordered more than one book.
It actually still has the old TSR logo on the back of it from back when it was TSR.
But it is a good adventure for levels 4 to 6 for second edition, which you can, as a DM, if, like with Ravenloft being really popular right now, if you wish to incorporate Soth back into the Ravenloft world, it's a good start. If you need to know more about Soth, read the book Spectre of the Black Rose, or
Knight of the Black Rose.
Knight of the Black Rose and Spectre of the Black Rose, right? I think it was.
May have been, but I can't remember.
I've got the books, but they're in storage right now until I get the move done. I just have momentary blanks. Then I ordered a first edition Fiend Folio. This is a softcover edition. It was, I want to say it was $12, but it is beautifully reproduced with a soft cover. So if you want to get into 1E and play the old school stuff where it's really tough and unforgiving, and you want to get the Fiend Folio, it's an awesome DM's Guild. We'll put a link to them in the description. And they have the print editions of stuff. They have you get the first 3 core hardbound books: Dungeon Master Guides, Player's Handbook, Monster Manual. You get the Fiend Folio and soft cover. You can also get a bunch of modules in soft cover. But it's worth getting if you don't want to ruin your older books by constantly using them, because those are getting expensive as days go by.
The old hardcovers, yeah.
Yeah. And this is an acquisition, Ben Richton's Guide to Ravenloft. We just picked this up this week. First look at it, I mean, this edition is beautiful. We also have the other one. It's upstairs by the nightstand. I didn't think about bringing it down till the last minute. But it's got a lot of information on Ravenloft. Some of you old school guys might not like it because Soth is not in it really. And there is a mention of something Soth related. I haven't looked up. I heard about it from a group I'm in on Facebook, but I didn't go and pull it up to look at it. But it is, it's a color book. It's got a lot of stuff about Strahd and the other domains, and the Dark Lords that rule each domain. The only thing that I did give it a good look over about an hour and a half the other night, and the only thing that I didn't like is like some of the Dark Lords. They don't have their own stat blocks. They have use the Noble stat block, use the Knight stat block. These talk about Dark Lords. These guys ought to have unique stat blocks.
Yeah, powerful if you want to be your.
They need to have
big bad guy for the end of that campaign. For that,
Right. I mean, okay, so one's a noble, but he's evil enough to be a Dark Lord. He needs to have some kind of legendary save or some kind of special abilities other than using the noble stat block. I just think that Wizards could have went a little bit deeper on that, but it's not a bad book. If you're a Ravenloft collector, it's something that you want to put in your collection. Oh, and there's a bunch of Ravenloft books at DM's Guild.
And we're going to do a review very soon about
A
this
deeper
book.
one.
I've only got a couple pages in, just have the time to go as far as Tim has, but we'll get a deeper one soon.
But we're to give you our outlook on it. I mean, I know Victor, was it von Mordenheim or Mordenheim, the Frankenstein knockoff guy. I want to learn more about his domain compared to what it used to be. Something about his daughter's like dead or undead. I don't know. Not for sure. I'm just going by little snippets of what I hear. But this is a good book to get for you 5e guys if you haven't already got it. You could get a special edition cover like this one at your friendly local game store. If you don't need this one and you just want the basic one, you can get it for like just under $30 from Amazon. I don't know what it would go for at Barnes and Nobles. And we're always looking for a Volo's guide in this cover edition. That would be nice to have.
So
Volo's is going for about $400.
Oh,
So,
okay. So some of you, if you've been, you're following your online, Dungeons & Dragons group, there's some exciting things that popped up this week on your feed. You got, they're teasing at a Drizzt animated series.
the Summer of Drizzt.
It's called the Summer Drizzt, and so there's more exciting stuff coming down. And then they did a lullaby, somebody did a lullaby. They had Salvatore write it, and then they had Benedict Cumberbatch narrating it. It was really good. I mean, you can find that on there online, and there's also a little show where they were interviewing Bob Salvatore, asking him they want a lullaby. So he's like real confused, and he's like, so he made a lullaby, and they made a little short animated. It's like 3+ minutes long.
He didn't want to do it until he found out Benedict Cumberbatch was.
And everybody's
voicing
excited. And everybody's excited about Benedict and his voicing it.
Oh, because it's Smog, man. I mean,
Smog, Doctor Strange, yeah. Khan from Star Trek movies, Star Trek movies.
I forgot about that, dude, because
Yeah.
it's been a while since I saw that. But I did see it. I did see the new one.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, he wasn't Khan in the first one, man, because that was Ricardo Montalban playing
Yeah,
Khan.
the original Khan. Yeah, because he did it in the original show, and he did it in the Wrath of Khan movie.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't heard much updates as far as the Critical Role show. That I know they were working on it, so I'm looking forward to seeing that when that gets done.
Episode 5 again. I have never watched or listened to Critical Role. I'm sorry.
I don't know if you got 3 to 4 hours. I don't know how many has got 3 to 4 hours. I mean, when I'm building computers, sometimes I'll listen to it, but
I listen to Matt Colville occasionally. I'll put an earbud in, and I'll be walking around the house doing stuff here, and take care of Dad, and but I always get these weird looks like, am I paying attention or am I listening to Matt Colville? But I listen to his stuff because I just like.
it could be the same thing. Somebody's working on something else, and they're listening to us in the background.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're not getting too long and carried away, and keep it interesting enough.
Dude, I could talk for hours.
I know
about
you like to talk,
but I hope you liked our show. We're going to give it a call there for the night. We'll edit this, and we'll get the links in the description. And give us a like, give us a subscribe, pass it on to your friends. And thank you. And see you in 2 weeks. We'll have, I think we're going to have Andrew Webb back. He's going to bring in some more dice, and we'll be talking about some stuff. And he'll be joining us again, and hopefully our gaffer will be here to take care of our sound issue that we were having problems with in previous episodes.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys in a few weeks.
next week, guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye.